Red states take more from the federal budget than they give, and yet their politicians still act like welfare is going to hurt the federal budget. Maybe their welfare. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Mitch McConnell is, of course, the roadblock to everything, right? He is the hole where good legislation goes to die. That's a Mitch McConnell. But back earlier in the year, in May, the Department of Transportation, each major department in the government has an inspector general. This is a law that goes back to the 70s. It was one of the post-Nixon reforms. And the inspector general, you know, it's like the internal affairs guy on the cop shows. You know, he's in the organization, but he's really separate, or she separate and independent of the organization. And the inspectors general are basically the police within the agencies. And so the top cop in the Department of Transportation was looking into, this was a guy named Mitch McConnell. He's been there 17 years. And he was looking into what looked like some, at the very least, inappropriate behavior by the Department of Transportation. Apparently, the person who was at the head of the Department of Transportation was funneling money into Kentucky, federal DOT money, your tax dollars and mine, into Kentucky in ways that would help Mitch McConnell. And this inspector general was looking into this and saying, you know, hey, this might be unethical. This might be even a crime. It might be considered self-dealing, because the head of the Department of Transportation is a woman named Elaine Chao. Elaine Chao is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Her family's a very, very wealthy Taiwan-based shipping. They own a shipping, worldwide shipping operation. And she's the wife of Mitch McConnell. So back in May, when the inspector general started looking into potential crimes by Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, what did the administration do? Well, Donald Trump basically demoted Mitch McConnell, the inspector general, and replaced him with a guy named Skip Elliott, who was a political appointee that Mitch McConnell had put in place there. Yeah, brilliant. Speaking of Kentucky, I think that it's really, and by the way, the therefore for what I just said is, if Democrats want to make life uncomfortable for Mitch McConnell, investigating the Department of Transportation and Elaine Chao might be the place to start. Seems like an idea, right? I mean, House oversight, this is you know, a great place to start. But speaking of Kentucky, I mean, Kentucky is like the welfare queen of welfare queens, to use Ronald Reagan's old racist trope, only apply it to states. This, you know, for every $1 that Kentucky pays in federal taxes, they get back $2.41 in federal taxpayer money. Not bad, huh? If every $100 you sent to the government as taxes, they sent you back $241, what would you think? Pretty good. In fact, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Louisiana, these three states, 40% of the total income in these three states comes from your and my federal tax dollars. And yet these guys have the temerity to claim or to complain about Americans wanting unemployment benefits, wanting some support with food when hunger is actually stalking our land right now, help with housing for homeless people as homelessness is exploding. We are in the Trump Great Depression. We need to start calling it that. It's the Trump Great Depression. Much of the federal budget deficit, the non-defense federal budget deficit, is because of red states. People on disability, for example, the top 5 states of people on disability: Mississippi, Kentucky, Arkansas, Alabama, and West Virginia. 9 of the top 10 states with the lowest what's called labor force participation rate. In other words, you know, you can look at unemployment as people who are actually, you know, on unemployment, or you can simply look at who could work but isn't working, because after a year or two, depending on the state you're in, or even 6 months in some states, you no longer qualify for unemployment benefits. And so, you are just you're not considered unemployed anymore. So what they do is they look at labor force participation rate, the number of people who could work if there were jobs, but they're not. And the top 10 states: Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, West Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina. Red states have the worst poverty in the United States. Mississippi, 20%, 19.8% poverty in Mississippi. Louisiana, 18%. West Virginia, 17%. Arkansas, 16%. Red states have the least educated populations. And yet they keep, in the face of all of this, these folks keep buying into this grift, this Republican grift, just because the Republican Party has successfully branded themselves with NASCAR